Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Before we start the lesson, I just want to tell you, remember I told you that with regards to Ammar, a person passing in front of another person reading Salaah, if a person is in a masjid saghir, a small masjid, right, then you can't pass in front of this person at all unless you put a sutra. Right, and if I remember correctly, a masjid saghir is something which is lesser than 40 by 40. It is lesser than 40 by 40. But if it is a masjid kabir, which is larger than 40 by 40 zira, then you can pass in front of a person reading salah as long as you don't pass in front of his sujood. Sujood is a place where he will put his head down. Sujood is a place where he put his eyes. So like a big masjid, like here you have, okay, Masjid al-Taqwa, you have Masjid al-Fuqara, Masjid al-Mansur, Masjid al-Darul Uloom. No, it is also here in the Kitab also that as long as the place where you make sujood, where it was here, yeah, Mawdi Sajjata here, right? So this would mean effectively somebody reading Salah by the house, a lady reading by the house, or a man reading by the house, etc., etc. You can't pass in front of what? The person making sajda unless you put a sutra there, right? You understood that? That's clear. So if it's a masjid kabir, then you just have to go beyond the place of sajda or beyond the place where a person's eyes fall when they're making sajda, right? Is that clear? But if it is a masjid saghir, then you can't pass unless it's a sutra, right? You understood that? Okay, read a new lesson, inshallah. So keeping that in mind, read.
قوله عليه السلام إذا صلى أحدكم في الصحراء فليجعل بين يديه سترة.
Right. So they're saying وينبغي لمن يصلي في الصحراء أن يتخذ أمامه سترة. If you are reading Salah, right, in an open place, right, like a desert or any open place, you go and picnic or whatever, right, then there also that is considered to be like you say a masjid saghir. So you must have a sutra in front of you. Understood that? So it is appropriate لمن يصلي في الصحراء, for the person who is praying in an open field, أن يتخذ أمامه سترة, that he places in front of himself a sutra, لقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إذا صلى أحدكم في الصحراء, when any one of you pray in an open place, فليجعل بين يديه سترة, then he should place in front of him a sutra. Carry on.
مقدارها ذراع فصاعدا كقوله عليه السلام يعجز أحدكم إذا صلى في الصحراء أن يكون كلامه مثل ذرة.
Right. So then they're saying that the sutra, what should the length of the sutra be? The sutra should be an arm's length. The right is an arm's length, like this here. There's an arm's length, right? So see there, وَمِقْدَارُهَا, the size of it, ذِرَاءٌ is a ذِرَاء, فَصَائِلًا or more. Why? What's the proof? لِقَوْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ, because of the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So now remember this here, if a person, a woman is reading Salat at home, or she's reading anywhere, or anybody's reading anywhere, your sutra must at least be an arm's length high, nothing shorter than that, right? So what's the proof? The proof is the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, أَيَعْجِزُ أَحَدُكُمْ إِذَا صَلَّى فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ أَن يَكُونَ أَمَامَهُ مِثْلَ مُؤَخِّرَةِ الرَّحْلِ, that is any one of you unable, right, إِذَا صَلَّى فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ, that when he prays في الصحراء, in an open place in the desert, أن يكون أمامه, that they will be in front of him, مثل مؤخرة الرحل, they'll be like the مؤخرة الرحل. So what's the مؤخرة الرحل? You know, sometimes you get a double saddle, a double saddle, which two people can sit on. So in between the two seats on the saddle, there's like a dividing thing which a person can lean onto. So then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that when you want to pray in a desert, then are you unable to do it? Then you should do it. You should at least have a stick the side of a mu'akhiratul rahl between you. So remember this here. Even if a woman is reading Salah at home, or a man in a masjid al-saghir, not the masjid al-kabir, etc., then you should have that your sutra, whether it's a bench or whether it is anything used, you're using a bench or using a chair or anything, it should at least be an arm's length high. If it is lower than the arm's length, then it will not be correct, right? Carry on. Right. وَقِيلَ يَنْبَغِي أَنْ يَكُونَ فِي غِلْظِ الْإِصْبَعِ, and it is said that it is appropriate that it must be in the thickness of a finger. So in other words, it can't be thinner than a finger. So you can't use like a string or something. See the finger at least. So there you got it. At least as high as an arm's length, at least as high as an arm's length, and at least as thick as a finger. Carry on. لِأَنَّ مَا دُونَهُ. Yeah, so he's saying if anything is thinner than the thickness of a finger, right, a person won't see it. And the whole idea is that a person must see it and he must realize this person is reading Salah here, I mustn't walk in front of him. So لِأَنَّ مَا دُونَهُ, because what is lesser than that, لَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاظِرِينَ, it is not apparent for the onlooker, right, from far. So the whole purpose is that you mustn't pass in front of a person. It is not realized, right? Can you from there, Luqman, read? Yeah. So once you got a sutra, somebody is reading and you got a sutra in front of him, then there's no restriction that you still have to be, like I told you, a certain distance away, like how when a person is reading the Masjid al-Saghir, then you can't pass by him at all. You'll have to either put the sutra or you have to go behind him, etc., etc. That you don't have to worry about, right? So you can come right in front of his sutra because the sutra is now the barrier. The sutra is now the barrier. So وَيَقْرُبُ مِنَ السُّتْرَةِ, he can come as close as possible to the sutra لِقَوْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ, because of the statement of Nabi Sallam, مَنْ صَلَّى إِلَى سُتْرَتِهِ, whoever reads salah to a sutra, فَلْيَدْنُ مِنْهَا, then he can come as close as possible to it, right? Carry on. Right. So one would imagine that the sutra must be smack in the middle, like in line with your forehead or in line with your nose, but no. وَيَجْعَلُ السُّتْرَةَ, he will place a sutra عَلَى حَاجِبِهِ الْأَيْمَنِ, either upon his, in line with his right eyebrow, or عَلَى الْأَيْسَرِ, or his left eyebrow. Why? What's the proof? بِهِ وَرَدَ الْأَثَرُ. What does the athar has been narrated, right? وَلَا بَعْسَ بِتَرْكِ السُّتْرَةِ إِذَا أَمَنَ الْمُرُورِ. You got amana or amina? إِذَا أَمِنَ الْمُرُورِ. So when you're reading salah at a place where you are certain that nobody's going to pass there, right? وَلَمْ يُوَاجِهِ الطَّرِيقَةِ, and you're not facing the road or anything like that, right? So like you're in a place where you know that nobody's going to pass here, you're reading salah in a place where you're not facing a road, etc., etc., then there's no problem. Then there is no problem. You don't have to put a sutra, right? وَلَا بَعْسَ, there's no problem. بِتَرْكِ السُّتْرَةِ, by leaving at the sutra, إِذَا أَمِنَ الْمُرُورَ, when you are certain that nobody will pass. وَلَمْ يُوَاجِهِ الطَّرِيقَ, and you're not facing any type of road, right? Carry on. Right, subhanallah. وَسُتْرَةُ الْإِمَامِ سُتْرَةٌ لِلْقَوْمِ. So for instance, say example, you're reading in an open place, right? So each person individually don't have to have a sutra. Each person individually don't have to have a sutra. So long as the imam has got a sutra in front of him, that will suffice for the rest of the qawm. You understood that? So sutratul imami sutratun lil qawmi. The sutra for the imam is a sutra for the qawm. Right? What's the reason? Give the reason. Read it. I got وَلَمْ يَقُلْ لِلْقَوْمِ سُتْرَةٌ. Okay. Okay, that sutratun is feminine, so that's right. So what's the proof to say that once the Imam has got a sutra, we don't have to have another sutra? لأنه عليه السلام, because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam صلى ببطحاء مكة, once he prayed in a low-lying area of Makkah, إلى أنازة, to a spear, ولم يكن للقوم سترة, so only he had a sutra and the qawm didn't have a sutra. The qawm didn't have a sutra. Carry on.
ويعتبر غرض دون اللقاء والخط لأن المقصود به.
Yeah. So what I say in the next Ibarat, when you say you must have a sutra, etc., it's not something that you let it lay horizontally on the ground. You must stick it into the ground. It must stand up straight. You understood that? So ويعتبر الغرض دون, well, if it can stand up without you planting the ground, like how in some masjids they have a sutra, it's got the base, so it can stand on the base, that's fine, right? ويعتبر الغرض, so planting it, making it stand up straight, will be considered دون الإلقاء, not making it lay, والخط, or drawing a line in the sand. Why? لأن المقصود لا يحصل به, because the purpose is not realized by that. Making it lay flat on the ground, etc., etc. There's no purpose. The whole purpose is so that people must see that there is a sutra, somebody is reading Salaah, etc. We mustn't pass here, etc. Right?
ويدرأ المارة إذا لم يكن بين يديه الفطرة أو مرة بينه وبين الفطرة، بقوله عليه السلام: يدرأ المارة ما استطعتم.
Right. Dara ayadara means to repel. So what he's saying there is, if somebody, you reading Salah and you got no sutra, right? And you're in a masjid sahir, you're in a small place, and somebody want to walk in front of you, then you can actually stop him. Say, وَيَدْرَأُ الْمَارَةَ, and he will repel the person who passes in front of him. إِذَا لَمْ يَكُنْ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ سُتْرَةٌ, when there's no sutra in front of him, right? أو مَرَّ بَيْنَ وَبَيْنَ السُّتْرَةِ, or this person wants to walk between you and the sutra, right? أو مر بينه وبين السترة. Why? لقوله عليه السلام, because there's a statement of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَادْرَؤُوا مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, that repel as far as you can that person wants to walk between you, right? وَيَدْرَؤُوا بِالْإِشَارَةِ, so how will you make like this, ishara, stop him, right? Right? وَيَدْرَؤُوا كَمَا فَعَلَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم, like how Nabi said done بِوَلَدِ أُمِّ سَلْمَةَ, with the child of Salma. أو يدفع بتسبيحه, or you can say Subhanallah, Subhanallah, أو يدفع بتسبيحه لما روينا من قبل, because of what we narrated before. ويكره الجمع بينهما, but you shouldn't do both. Why don't you say stop him with your hand and you say Subhanallah, because then it's too much. Remember, you're in Salah, so you have to minimize any action that is not part of Salah. A scatter cushion won't work. Why a scatter cushion won't work? Because it is not the height of an arm's length. It's as thick as a finger, but it's not the height of an arm's length, right? So, ويقرأ الجمع بين Makrooh, together between the two, لأن بأحدهما كفاية, because you will suffice with one. You will suffice with one. So remember, in Salah, you won't do unnecessary actions. You'll only do that which is necessary. So here, either making tasbih or either making ishara is sufficient. So that would be good enough, right? Because this is based on zarurat, and you know, az-zaruratu tataqaddaru biqadri az-zarura, right? When something is based on necessity, you only do it as much as necessity. Okay, we will stop there, inshallah, because I have to go somewhere. So the next chapter, faslun, ala faslun fi bayan al-mufsid. The next chapter will be the chapter with regards to those things that break the salah. May Allah Ta'ala accept. If it's not clear, you can ask. May Allah Ta'ala give us a tawfiq to practice. May Allah Ta'ala make it a means of shifa, inshallah. Thus, subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.